What's up, nerds? So I finished True Detective episode 4 last night, and I'm doing my review now. So real quick, I just want to say a couple things before I get into the breakdown and stuff. So real quick, it's going to go breakdown, review, theories, okay? Second thing I want to say is, you guys, my last episode, I mentioned that it was aliens and everything. I was joking. I don't think it's aliens, okay? I mean, not that you guys were, like, angry about it, but, yeah. And you guys can leave your comments up. You don't have to delete them. I'm not, like, angry if you, like, shit all over me because I just mentioned aliens and everything. But, it's fine. Everything's fine. So, now that I got that out of the way, I'm going to talk about this and everything. But before I do, overall, this episode to me felt like filler. I didn't think that it advanced the story very much, like pretty much at all. I mean, we learned so little, and I thought this episode was filler, in my opinion. I'm all like, 6 episodes, honey. We ain't got time for filler. You should have hit the ground running, and this episode we should be like a little bit like closer to the destination, and I'm not close to the destination at all. I'm all like trying to write down notes like, what is going on here? Okay, let's break down this episode, and then we'll talk about it, my theories later. All right, here we go. On Christmas Eve, Danvers is driving to meet with Peter when she finds a shirtless Julia nervously walking. She tries to get her a coat, although Julia slaps her at first. So Christmas Eve and everything, and everybody's trying to get home and all that stuff. And Julia, the sister, she's got, mental issues because she's crazy and everything. But I thought this showed a side of Danvers that we don't get to see too much, because Danvers is trying to put on this like tough woman attitude and everything. And I thought this was nice of her to stop and help out Julia and just, be like very calming. And I do wish that she was a little bit more like that, to the people around her, especially her daughter. I think that would go, or stepdaughter, that would go a long way, in my opinion. So, yeah. Navarro picks her up and decides to get Julia committed to the Lighthouse, a social assistance center. I'm glad to see that Julia decided to get help, but it was probably a little bit too late, and I feel bad what happens to her. But I just, I was, when it happened, I was like, good. And then later on, what happens to her, I was like, that's really a bummer, because, when you seek help for mental health, sometimes it's just too late, and you're too far gone. And I feel bad about that and everything. I'm no expert, by the way. I'm not an expert. Okay. So if you need help, get help. You know what I'm saying? And see something, say something. Peter finds a possible connection to Salal through Otis Heiss, a man with similar wounds who disappeared a few months ago. So I like this little stuff in here with Peter. I like how Peter is really good at his job. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. He just gets a lot of shit, from people, and it really is a bummer. But I think that overall this is I think Peter, I really like this character. I just feel bad for him, like he's always like, his wife gives him crap, his job gives him crap and everything, and I'm just like, and Danvers takes advantage of him so much, and I'm just like, to the detriment of his family, and it just sucks. And later on when he talks to his wife, he's all like, I'm sorry that I ruined your life and you had a baby and everything, and I'm all like, that's so sad if it's true that she thinks that getting married and having a baby ruined her life. I really like Peter. He's a good character. Danvers and Navarro question a local named Raymond to help them decode the symbols seen in Annie's video. Andy explains that one of them belongs to a whalebone. He also reveals that there is an ice cave near Brooks Range that could fit the description, and that Heiss carved the cave maps. So they went over to this Raymond guy's house, right? And we've seen him before. I think we saw him episode 2, right? And it's obvious that Danvers fucked him. And Danvers is just fucking everything in sight. I tell you what, that woman, I mean, like, listen, don't get me wrong. I get it. But why don't you just find a boyfriend? I've said this before. I do not understand. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it if you're like, in your, maybe, I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, I get it that maybe you don't want a boyfriend, but like, find one or two fuck buddies and just get them, and you don't have to go after a married man. What's her deal? I mean, maybe that's her thing, but they find out that there are caves near Ellis, and they also find out that Heiss, the guy that she was looking for that had the same injuries, was the guy that made these maps for these caves. So they're like kind of connecting all this together, which was, interesting, but like they just threw this random guy in there. It's like, we didn't know anything about this before. It's like the one guy that the knockback guy, they go to Oliver, they go to see him again later on. And then this guy, they just threw them in there, and it's like, wait, what? I was like, there was no inkling of this earlier, and now all of a sudden there is an inkling. It's just weird. Navarro then visits Rose to talk about her life with Travis, while Danvers is forced to release Leah after she graffitied the word murderer in a Silver Sky mining office. So Leah, she just keeps getting herself in trouble and shit. And I did like how the woman who Danvers fucked her husband, how she threw her a bone and was all like, after her husband threw Danvers a boner. She spray paints the murderers thing on there, and I'm just like, honey, this is not like, what are you accomplishing here? Nothing. You're not accomplishing anything. And the lady lets her go. She's all like, fine, you can have her back because it's Christmas, and you better be glad that I'm a nice lady, even though you ruined my marriage, kind of thing. So, and I did like how Danvers was all like, she's like, I want to press charges, and she's like, what? No.
I want to press charges.
No. And I was like, Danvers, that's not how the law works. If she wants to press charges, she can press charges. I mean, I'm not an expert, but she can press charges. Julia escapes from the center, and after removing her clothes, walks to the outskirts and drowns in the sea. And so this part, like I said before, it's just really sad what happened to Julia. I do feel bad for her because, and I don't blame Navarro, because, her sister kept telling her, no, I don't want to go to a mental health facility. But it was a volunteer facility, and she could leave whenever she wanted, from what I understand. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. So I did feel bad for her that she just had reached the end of her rope. But when she got when that orange came floating towards her feet, and then she looked under and it was her mom, and her mom was like, and everything. I was like, I wouldn't have looked under the bed. I was just like, I'm going to leave this room now. And so, yeah, she just gets naked and walks off into the cold, and I was just like, that's so sad. And she called her sister, and she was like, I love you. And I was just like, that's so sad. Like, I got a little teary-eyed when that happened. It was really sad. After reviewing the videos, Danvers finds that the lights went off in Clark's video, and concludes that Oliver may have been involved, as he has access to the emergency generator. So they're finding out that they had power at that cave, and somebody cut off the power. Now, who it was, I don't know, but they cut off the power, and that's what set the whole thing, amok, and everything. So I'm curious to see what happened there. I have thoughts, and I will get into my theories part of it. Navarro and Peter once again visit Oliver to question him, but they find that he left a few days ago. So they go to visit Oliver. His soup is cold or whatever, frozen over. And those villager people, they like come up and they're like, you can't go into a man's house when he's not home and everything. And they're right. Cops just can't walk into your house. That's not, well, at least in America. I don't know how it is in other places, but in America, you can't just walk in there. That's not how things work. So they were right to confront them, but they were being very like, we will attack you kind of thing. And I was like, hey, man, you guys need to calm the fuck down, like hardcore. And I wonder where Oliver went now, because we got the Oliver guy, the Heiss guy, and Otis, and then we got Clark. And I was just like, we got these three dudes, and I'm like, where are you all going? Like, they found Otis, but where did Oliver go and where did Clark go, I mean, are they off into are they in the night country also? Which, I'll talk about that too. Navarro is then devastated when she is informed that Julia died after escaping, and she decides to let Peter go back to his family for dinner. Danvers visits Conley to talk about his plans, and he admits to Danvers that Danvers' behavior worsened since the death of her child, causing her to angrily leave. As she drives, she goes off the road when she sees a polar bear in the middle of it. So I thought this part was a little revealing. Of course, Danvers, she was drunk, drinking vodka, it looked like. Good choice, honey. But also, she went to go fuck this Conley guy, and I'm just like, man, Danvers, you are insatiable. I tell you right now, your appetite is strong. I mean, I get it, but honey, just like calm it down. But although I don't think this guy's married, so I guess that's okay. But, he talks about how she was a better cop than him, and she says, like, that's why you moved me. But he was talking about how nobody could work with her because she changed after the death of her son. And I understand that, once you lose a child, it's very difficult. You're not the same again. You're broken. And this comes from experience, but you're broken and you just can't, you can't fix it. You can't make it the way it was before. So I get that part of the program, but she leaves because she's all pissed off because she doesn't want to hear about that crap about her son. And I'm all like, honey, sometimes you got to hear the hard truths and you got to fix them, and maybe you need to talk to somebody about that, but she's not willing to do that. Navarro angrily confronts the office staff for not checking on Julia and stops by the road to fight a man who abused a woman, although she is brutally beaten by his gang. Now, Navarro confronting the staff, I totally get this too. She just heard her sister died. She is upset, and I totally get that. She confronts the people and everything. But that's pretty sad. But then she goes to confront that dude and his friends, and don't get me wrong, she got some good hits in there, but man, do they beat the fuck out of her. I tell you what, I was all like, honey, as soon as it happened, I was like, don't do it, and everything, but she did it, and shit did not go well for her. She goes to Kavik for help, and he tends to her wounds. So yeah, she goes to her lover, his house and everything, and he's fixing her up, and like I said before, she looks like shit and everything, and I'm all like, man, but he tends to her wounds, and I was like, so why don't you just settle down with this guy? He likes you, or at least maybe he loves you, but you're just dragging him along, and he deserves better than that. The following morning, she visits Danvers to tell her about Julia's death. She believes this to be a curse, which will eventually come to her. So I thought this part was I thought Danvers was a little harsh when she threw the polar bear teddy bear thing outside, because she was all like, why do you still have this? And she's like, see, it's gone. I was like, don't do that. Don't get rid of your son's things just because, you don't believe in an afterlife, and you're all like, they're gone and everything, because it's still nice to have their things around and stuff. So I thought that was a little harsh. I think she's still trying to heal, and she may never heal, but she's not willing to try. I think she just keeps pushing it off, and it really is sad that Danvers keeps doing that. And I feel bad for Navarro also, especially because she thinks this curse thing. I don't believe in curses, but whatever, because I don't believe in all that stuff. But it's just sad that her sister died, and now she thinks that she's gonna start being crazy. And I'm just like, that stuff is genetic, but that doesn't mean it's 100% gonna hit you. And if I was her, I'd just get tested to see if she has the markers for it. They then leave when Peter reports that a man wearing Annie's parka near a dredging machine, they believe it to be Clark, but it is actually Otis. So they get a guy wearing the parka and everything, and they go, because they think it's Clark and everything, and they go out to that little like oil rig or whatever it was, and they go in there, and they're all up in there, and they're searching for it, and Danvers gets the parcel tongue going on, and so she starts to investigate that, and I'm like, honey, back up your Danvers here. What if that dude is hostile? So but she went and followed the ghost talk. Otis dodges Danvers' questions while Navarro is shaken after encountering a woman near a Christmas tree that resembles her sister. So Danvers finds Otis, and he's all like, and everything. He's like, Clark left and everything, and Navarro, she sees the ghost of her, what I look like her sister, because it had blue hair, so I just assumed it was her sister. But then there's that tree, and I'm just like, and her ear was bleeding and everything, and I'm just like, what's going on here? I was like, I don't like the supernatural stuff going on, but at the same time, it's kind of interesting. Otis then claims that Clark left for the night country, also saying, they all are in it now. And that's the end of the episode when he was like, he's in the night country and you are now too, or some crap like that. I can't remember exactly what he says. I'm all like, okay, cool. I'm like, I guess. I don't know, man. I just, like, I don't really like I said, I don't like the supernatural stuff. I just don't, it's like whatever. So overall, like I said before, this episode to me felt very filler, like true filler, because it didn't advance the mystery part of it very much, and I just felt like it was the weakest episode overall. And I really wish that they had done this a little bit better in terms of like information, but it was fine. You know, I wasn't like upset about it. I was just hoping for more. And you know, and I definitely say this was the worst episode in terms of like, you know, plot progression and all that. But at the same time, I didn't hate it. I just wish there was more. You know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? If you don't get what I'm saying, it's fine. I really just don't know how to explain it in words. But it's in my head, you know, where it's safe. Anyways, okay, so acting-wise, I mean, everybody's doing great again. You know what I'm saying? Danvers, played by what's-her-face, Jodie Foster, she's doing great. So is Navarro, played by Callie something. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I forgot to write it down in my notes like a big idiot. Both of them are doing good, acting-wise. I think everybody else is doing good. I felt bad for Peter's dad. I can't remember his name because, like I said before, Russian Bride. I thought that would be something, but it was nothing. It was just that scam. Like, it's like, I'm a Nigerian prince, send me money and everything. I like how he was like, you didn't send her money, did you? And he's all like, hey, are you cool if I come over to your house for Christmas since I'm, you know, my bride didn't show up? And a small piece of me did feel bad for him because he got such a happy look on his face when that woman was like stepping out of the plane, but then she was not stepping out. So I'm like, oh, that must have been like the stewardess or maybe like the pilot. And you just saw the disappointment on his face. And I just felt bad for him because I'm all like, oh, man, he's lonely. And these monsters took advantage of him and everything. It was just sad to see that go down. I also, Leah, I do feel like Leah and Danvers' relationship, I feel like it could be remedied if Danvers would just put a little effort in. And I don't think she's trying to. And that really bothers me also. Okay, so on to my theories portion of the program. All right, and a lot of you have brought up, you know, that I said this from day one. I do think that the hallucinations, I don't think there's supernatural stuff going on. I think all the hallucinations have to deal with the water supply. And I talked about how I think that the scientists might have pulled up some microorganisms from, you know, the past or whatnot, and that might be infecting people. I don't know if that's 100% on there, but I'm still sticking to that theory. But one thing I wanted to add on to that is, okay, so one of you put this comment up in my comment section of my last video. And this is by Peace Love Sean. It says, I think when they say she's awake, they mean the polar bear. And I want to talk about this because if you remember in episode 2, when they're putting out all of the evidence for the crime scene or whatever, and Danvers keeps saying, ask the right question. And he says, what would make them leave out of the lab half naked? And he mentions a polar bear. So I thought before that this polar bear was an illusion. No. I think they had that polar bear in the lab and they were testing on it. They were testing shit out on this polar bear. And that polar bear was awake. And that's what scared them outside. Now, I don't know why their clothing was folded up. That part I don't know. I don't know, you know, any of the other stuff, like why their ears were bleeding because of the night country or whatever the hell that is. But I think that the power shut down and the bear got out or whatever. Maybe the bear got out first, or maybe the bear woke up. That guy was like, she's awake or whatever. And then the power went down and the bear got out and everybody got eaten or whatever, or got scared from the polar bear. That's what I think so far. I just thought that was interesting because now I'm all like, oh yeah, he mentioned the polar bear, and it's all these little things. Also, the redhead from the factory, this is my theory, the redhead from the factory, I think she killed Annie K. I really do. I know that this is because I really just feel like that look that she got on her face, and and that guy was talking about like, oh, I'm gonna fuck her so good or whatever. She won't know what hit her. I think that he slept with Annie K. That redhead got jealous and she killed Annie K. And that's like, because we're all thinking this is this huge thing. And she's like, you never saw with that much hate. Maybe the redhead really does love that dude. You know what I'm saying? Even, she's got that Munchausen by proxy or whatever it's called. No, that's not it. What's that one where you're like, hostages agree with their kidnapper or whatnot? I think maybe that's what it is, but with that dude and everything. She just loves him even though he beats her. And I just think that I think she killed, and I think the star, because she got stabbed and they made like a star imprint, if you remember. I think that is something from that factory, like it's a tool from the factory. And I think that old lady knows, but she doesn't want to say anything because she likes the redhead chick and everything. That's all I got for my theories, and that's what my review is. Like I said, this episode was very meh for me, very filler. I was expecting, a little bit more, but, maybe that's on me because I expected too much. You never know. But tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you agree with me on certain things or whatnot and everything? But tell me what you guys think about this. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on my next Night Country breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.